Good morning. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Uh, it was a glorious day this morning, and I trust that it will be glorious outside all day. I went for my morning walk along the beach, and uh, it's truly a special privilege to live in Rhode Island and to enjoy the beauty of nature and the waves were gentle. The sky was blue. The ocean was another shade of blue, and it was just peaceful and tranquil. And uh, I like to get to the end of my walk at a certain corner of the beach and just raise my hands for a few moments in praise and just take in the beauty of the bay and revel in it and to let it touch my spirit. How God has created a beautiful, beautiful world to enjoy and uh, to feel a sense of bliss in, a sense of joy, a sense of ecstasy. To be so glad uh, to live in this world and rejoice in it. Uh, Today, I thought my theme should be rejoicing. I've been uh, perplexed and depressed and down and stressed with the COVID 19 and with many people calling me from shelters, very distressed, feeling like their life is threatened. Uh, and I've really been at it in exhausting ways, kind of trying to create housing. And I'm glad that we created, uh, well, it added up to 35 housing rooms, and we were able to house 35 people. And but it's been uh, a trying experience, and it's been trying for all of us. And I've been isolated. Every time I have a diabetic symptom, they're the same symptoms as COVID 19, and I have to go into self isolation and quarantine uh, so that I don't affect the people living in my house that have compromised immune systems. And so I've been kind of uh, I've been kind of down in my sermons, and I'm not feeling down, and I'm feeling like the joy of the Lord can get us through anything. Uh, I while I was down, I wanted to emphasize that nothing can separate us from the love of God, and and kind of do those things that you have to remind yourself when it's a struggle, when you're frustrated, or when the governor isn't releasing the camp, so you can't take people camping and get them out of the shelter. That's a death trap. When you're really so frustrated, and I was just clinging to the rock and clinging to the promises of God, that nothing can separate us from the love of God. And and indeed, uh, that time has passed, and I took some time uh, to slow down a bit, and uh, now I'm just rejoicing, and I want to communicate uh, how much uh, I rejoice in the church. Uh, for one thing, uh, we have such loyal and committed stewards, such good and faithful stewards, that we just had the finance committee meeting last week, and it turns out that our pledging has not gone down uh, at all, at all. We haven't been worshiping in the church. We haven't uh, everything that might incline people to uh, forget to uh, faithfully pay on their pledges. And uh, it hasn't gone down at all. And that is extraordinary. They're extraordinary, faithful, wonderful people. And uh, similarly, uh, our mission just has never faltered. We couldn't serve the meal, obviously, in a crowd like we used to, uh, but people have been gathering on weeknights, carefully packaging safe meals for people, and and believe it or not, our church is growing. You know, during this time when we're not even meeting. There's young people who've been packaging these meals, and they've been inviting their friends, and the friends are inviting their friends, and the friends are inviting their friends, and a whole new crowd has emerged uh, uh, during this COVID-19 experience. And then, of course, there was the wonderful news that uh, we received so many unexpected gifts and grants. Uh, Something like 110,000 worth of gifts and grants. One of which was a $50,000 grant that a, a person was able to get a matching grant from the company he works for, and he was a man that had volunteered here. I think 3 or 4 years ago. We called him Mr. Perfect because he was a minister's son, and he'd been worked with Physicians Without Borders and or Doctors Without Borders, and he was a wonderful, thoughtful guy who really sat patiently and listened to uh, homeless people's crises and dilemmas, and was just an amazing guy. And our heart kind of broke when he moved to California, uh, but our hearts feeling kind of better about how he moved uh, because of that wonderful gift, and that he's kept us in his heart and in his prayers, and we appreciate his heart and prayers. We received another gift randomly from a person no one can figure out how we know him, $10,000, uh, and it's just a miracle. And then many other grants. Lisa is so faithful, writing her grant proposals, and uh, we're so blessed to have built relationships with the Rhode Island Foundation and others that they just sent us grants. Some that we didn't even apply for. Uh, the Carter Foundation, as part of the Rhode Island Foundation, uh, sent us $30,000. Uh, and we just fit their criteria, and they just generously did that. So there's much to rejoice in about that. But most of all, uh, I rejoice in the people that are so faithful. Like I, I find people writing me, calling me, I call them, and they're telling me about uh, the random acts of kindness that they are offering one another throughout this COVID-19 crisis, this pandemic. And the spirits are not daunted. They are not uh, cowed into submission. They are not uh, sitting in bed with their heads over, with a blanket over their heads, uh, uh, cowering and feeling uh, overwhelmed, but rather uh, they are claiming God's love and standing on that faith, and uh, moving forward to help others and to love others. I miss like crazy our hymns, the prayers at the railing, sharing our wonderful song about drawing the circle wide, that so in such a wonderful, I wanted to find a word for blessing way, in such a blessingful way, if to make up a word, uh, uh, illustrates and demonstrates the words of the song, even as we sing it. How we used to sing, hold hands and uh, share in drawing the circle wide with people from all kinds of backgrounds and experiences and cultures and races and classes. And uh, it was just such a miracle. And it's a miracle that uh, is unique and rare. And I have experienced it uh, as such a blessing. So I love you. And God loves you.